Hi everybody, welcome back. This episode of Great Amounts of Stories is Paul Lofthouse, and he's got a story that when I first heard about it, again, Greater Manchester Police, it was like, what are you doing? Everybody wants to support the police and we need to reduce crime, but the way they go about it sometimes is absolutely ridiculous and looks a bit corrupt sometimes. Or is it just pure incompetence? That's the bit we need answering sometimes. So first of all, welcome Paul to the show.
Thank you, Nick. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming on. So, briefly, give us a bit of an overview of your story and why you're sat here today.
It's in 2021. I was subjected to false allegations by my ex-partner. She's given a completely false name to the police, a false version of events. Once I was notified that she had contacted the police, I immediately called the police myself. I gave them all my contact details, my name, my address, my working hours. I gave them a brief description of my relationship with my ex-partner. I asked them if I was wanted by the police. They PNC'd me. They told me that I was not wanted. And I said to them, if you ever want to question me or to discuss anything, to get in contact with me. And then it was around about 3 weeks later, the way that they decided to deal with that was to come through my door with a battering ram, essentially, over what I was accused of was
Let me just stop you
non-violent.
there. So you've spoken to the police, they have all your details, they've got your phone number, they know everything about you. You've told them you will come in if they ever want to speak to you, and they then come through your door with a battering ram.
Yeah, it was only around about 3 hours after I called them on the telephone and I asked them to PNC me as well, and they said, no, you're not wanted. And yeah, it came through. I told them what time I was going to bed. I said I'll be in bed for 9 p.m. because I had to get up for work. And they decided to choose 11:30 as the time to knock on my door and go and come from my door with a battering ram. They surrounded. There was two riot vans, two police cars. I think all in all, there was around about 10 officers that come to arrest me over what is an alleged non-malicious harassment, essentially.
Wow. Wow. If they'd have thought, well, obviously you would have went to the police station because you contacted them in the first place.
Yeah, I've said to them, if you want to talk to me, if you want to question me, please let me know. I'll attend any police station. I've got the call recording for that. I gained that by subject access request. So I do have all of these calls. So I can categorically prove I was compliant and willing to help in any way I could.
Right, you mentioned there that you've got these that calls recorded. You've got that a copy of that. So let's talk about the evidence they've got against you. So first of all, anything to do with relationships, partners, he said, she said, that's extremely complicated because you always get two versions of the same story. Neither of them are usually 100% correct. So I can appreciate how difficult it is to police sometimes to understand who's telling the truth, who's telling a lie, who's making it up, who's mental, who's not. It's a really, really difficult judgment call to make. So let's put that to one side. But then after this has happened, you then should have the right to be able to prove your innocence, because that's what we do in this country. If you're accused of something, we then are given the right to seek evidence to prove what was said about us is incorrect, to clear our name. That's the most important thing for a man, to clear his name. So where are you with that, and what are the barriers that are stopping you now clearing your name?
Alongside the arrest, I was unaware that my ex-partner had made an application for a non-molestation order, which is basically a civil court version of a restraining order. She did this on an ex parte basis, which basically means that I'm not allowed to attend. I'm not allowed to even know about the hearing. I was completely unaware of the allegations that she's made in this. And upon being arrested over her false allegations, it had a significant mental impact on me. Like it just really hurt the fact that somebody could make up those false allegations about me. And I breached the no contact order by asking her, like, are you aware of the impact that this can have on my mental health? And also, yeah, I asked her to contact me. But ultimately,
And you did that via what?
It's just via messaging. I didn't go to see her, or
So yeah, so you basically sent a WhatsApp message to her asking her why have you done this.
it was on a social media platform. It wasn't WhatsApp. But yeah, it's again non-malicious. Basically, asking what's going on. Why are you making all these false allegations against me? But yeah, again, as another arrest that they've come. My ex-partner made a welfare call for me. I've got the subject access request that details the nature of this call. She's asked for an ambulance to come see me. Instead, they send a police car, two police cars, and a riot van. They broke into the property through the window, asked me if I was okay, and then arrested me for breaching the order. And at this stage, like I've never. I, First of all, I wasn't even aware that she's gone for the order. I wasn't aware of what she's accused me of. I didn't even know the process that's involved to have it all dealt with. And now I'm being arrested for breaching it as well. And I ended up going to court and being found guilty of everything that she'd accused me of, without ever being given a fair chance to challenge any of it. And bearing in mind, having been arrested, I've been completely compliant. I've told the police exactly the true version of events. I've told them where they need to look for the evidence to acquire the evidence. I've given them my phone, my unlock code for my phone. I told them that it's pretty important that they seize her phone as well, because it gives evidence that I need for different elements. So, like an alleged harassment, if she's calling me during the period saying that I'm harassing her, it's not harassment. None of this is being taken into account of. Where I currently stand now is that, like, I'm up in trial for this, and I'm heavily dependent on our communications via social media, which it was our main form of communication. So that will give everybody and the courts and everybody a very clear understanding of what's occurred between us in our relationship. And I've also requested the call logs to prove when I've been accused of making unwanted contact that went unresponded to. What not only was it responded to, but she's instigated it by getting in contact with me. And where I'm at currently now, I've been fighting for 2 years for all of the evidence. Literally, the two major components that I need that clear my name. I've been fighting for them for 2 years, and my solicitors all of my solicitors' requests for it have been ignored. All my requests have been ignored. My subject access requests of the evidence that I've needed for court appearances is just being deleted in a manner that there could only be. It can't be a clerical mistake. It can't be anything else. It could only be as a means of protecting Greater Manchester Police's, what I allege is their misconduct. Like, it's coming from a door of a battering ram, and then refusing to give me the body worn vest footage of it, but to give me the body worn vest.
Let's clear one or two things up. So, what are the pieces of evidence you need of Greater Manchester Police, and they're not giving you?
Literally, there's only two pieces that I need. I need her call logs, and I need our WhatsApp communications, and that's it. With the WhatsApp communications, that'll give a detailed description of our relationship. It'll explain exactly what occurred, who did what, and when. And
And what are you saying when? What are they saying when you're requesting this information, this evidence?
being ignored. It's initially he told me, the detective told me that he could not find the WhatsApp communications on it. Now I needed this for, for my court appearance. Well, not just back then, but also like in what's coming up as well. And he told me that he couldn't find any trace of it. I went to court and explained this in a mention to fix hearing, and even the judge pointed out categorically that there was quite a number of issues with the evidence, and they've requested of the CPS and Greater Manchester Police to allow me access to the WhatsApp communications. And I got a letter via recorded delivery 2 weeks after the expiry date of the court order, stating that the phone's broken. They can't find any evidence on it. The phone was absolutely fine when I gave it to them. I can't understand how it can be broken now. So I've got in contact with the officer in charge, and I've said, "Can I come and have a look at it?" I've gone, and he's just not let me have access to it. I've tried to arrange on a number of occasions to go back and review it, and it's all being ignored. And then yeah, like this is the same brick wall that I've been hitting over and over. Initially, I felt that there's a possibility that maybe due to COVID and the fact that everybody's understaffed because of COVID, that may be playing a part in it. And it was only when it got to last year when COVID's finished and like everybody's had over a year to provide this evidence, and to see that it's not even it's not even been passed over to the Crown Prosecution Service is what alarmed me the most, because they're not even allowing the Crown Prosecution Service access to it. And given some of the other issues that I've noticed with Greater Manchester Police refusing, like, just completely stonewalling evidence that's needed for prosecutions, like that, I find it extremely alarming. Yeah,
Yeah, so for people watching who are saying to themselves, here's a man who's been accused of domestic violence, the police have got his phone, it's he should have been a better husband, he should have been a better partner. That isn't what we're discussing here. We're discussing a miscarriage of justice that can be proven to be a miscarriage of justice if he can gain the evidence the police are holding. This could be you, this could be me. How have we got to a state where the police can hold evidence that's crucial in our case and they go, no one's seeing this? This is like a third world country, banana republic. We're supposed to have justice in this country. It's supposed to be blind. It's supposed to be, here's all the evidence, and we let a court decide the outcome of this case, not the police. And this is the scary bit about this, is they're holding evidence that can prove your innocence or prove you guilty, either way. But let's get that evidence into a court of law, just so other people then can make the judgment. That's why we have a separation between the police and the courts. That's why police officers are not judge and jury, because we need that to be impartial.
it's very, very important to appreciate that. I've been begging for this evidence for 2 years, and they've been ignoring it for 2 years, and that in and of itself paints the picture. You know, I wouldn't be requesting.
If this evidence would sink you, you'd already have it.
Yeah, I'd have already been to court, or already would have been done. It's like initially the court date was set for a year after, well, 6 months after the investigation took 6 months, and then it was set 6 months after the investigation, and then for it to be delayed for a further year, I have no idea what's going on. I can only imagine it's to do with my solicitor explaining there's a lot of evidence that we need that's not turning up, and dragging it on for 2 years is quite, it's psychological torture for me, purely because it, I've been falsely accused. I'm quite desperate to clear my name.
It's hanging around your neck, and I'm sure the police are just kicking it down the road because they know that this looks like this looks like it's not going to court, or if it gets to court, it's getting thrown out. So rather than that individual officer make that decision, they're just kicking it down the road, kick it down the road, kick it down the road, kick it down the road, because it's going to be bad news. So let someone else deal with it, and maybe something will happen in between.
It's very dangerous for me as well, because as I've mentioned to Greater Manchester Police, when I was making complaints about not acquiring the evidence, I'm not sure if they took it the wrong way and thought maybe I'm just trying to get it thrown out based on legal technicalities, when the whole reason why I'm desperate for this evidence is I've been found guilty of this on two separate occasions. One in a court trial behind my back, which I'm not even allowed to attend to, and then secondly in a court of law for breaching the order which I state is categorically based on falsehoods. And if I was ever given a fair chance to attend any of those hearings with the evidence that has been denied to me, it would have been a much different outcome. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's a complicated case. So for people watching, we know it's a complicated case, but think about how you would feel if the police held the evidence that could clear your name and you could not get hold of that evidence. That's why I wanted to speak to Paul today, because how would you feel? They can clear your name, but you cannot get your hands on the evidence. Your solicitors cannot get their hands on the evidence to clear your name. What sort of justice system is this? Absolutely appalling. Paul, thank you for coming on.
Likewise, thanks for having me, Nick.
Once you get to court and you get a resolution, get back in contact. Let's get back on and let's get into the nitty gritty then.
Will do. Excellent.
Cheers, Paul. Bye bye.
Thanks, Nick. Bye-bye.